Great. Hey.
Nice.
Good morning, everybody. This is
Dajiao.
China on the internet. My name is Rob Chen.
I'm Christina Chen.
And we are not related. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I've been really, really good.
I feel like I just saw you 2 seconds ago.
Like 2 seconds ago, aka 2 days ago.
Thank you for
3 days
everybody
ago.
who attended our live podcast, Chinosity Xperience, our first, hopefully, of many. It was a really great time to meet some of you and to showcase some of this awesome Chinese American, Asian American talent that we have here in New York City.
Definitely. We had like a lot of amazing things that happened. We had like student art gallery, like pop-up art galleries that was started off, and then we had like panel discussions, and then we ended it off with live performances.
It was a packed evening. We got a lot fit into those 3 hours.
It was a lot.
Yes.
It was a lot. Yes. And so let us know, so for those who have been there, let us know what was your highlight, what was your favorite part of it. I definitely had like a lot of like moments where I was like, wow, I learned a lot. For example, in the panel discussions.
Absolutely. I think that was great.
Yeah, I had because we interviewed Wan Ting, who is a co-owner of Junzi Kitchen, and we also interviewed Melissa, who does in-house marketing for Mala Project. It was really cool because Wan Ting was saying how in the United States, McDonald's has 13,000 locations, and they're like one of the biggest brands in terms of fast foods. But in terms of Chinese restaurants, there's 44,000 of these restaurants out there. So
that's more than triple. That's like almost 4 times.
Yeah, that's almost 4 times the amount. So I was like, wow, that's really, really crazy. So to hear her talk about the change of like people's perception of Chinese food and how now we have more, I guess you could say like higher end food. You could also say like different styles of food. It's not just limited to Cantonese style or like Southern style foods, which I grew up with like tasting a lot of that in Chinatown, but now we have a lot more different kinds from like North, Eastern side, Western, spicier foods and stuff. So I think that was really, really cool to see.
Yeah.
And then to hear her talk about it.
I think also a big difference is that more Chinese restaurants that we're talking about are starting to make their restaurants more accessible and like desirable to like other cultures and other people, like because the family style setting of most traditional Chinese restaurants with like the big tables with the lazy Susan is what people call here, like in the middle, and you can sit down. Like when we went out to eat, like it was the 2 of us here, and then we had like 3 other parties with us at the same table. And like,
that's at Joe Shanghai.
Now they're starting to do I like Joe Shanghai, and now what they're starting to do is make it smaller tables, like you sit with your own people. You like actually order off the menu instead of just from your brain.
Yeah.
And now with Junzi Kitchen, it's more like a sweet green.
Yeah.
Like a sweet green style, like a conveyor belt, Chipotle-esque, dig in, whatever you want to call it, where you can just order and then you sit or you take it to go, which is like a very
fast casual. I think it's a very Western mentality of eating as well, because at least for me in China, like when you sit down to eat, it's like you're sitting down to eat. You don't have your phone out really. I mean, nowadays it's a little different, but like when I was growing up in China, like we would have dinner, we would wait for my dad to come home from work, everyone would sit down, and it's like a chance to convene. It's like the thing, like instead of saying how are you, it's have you eaten yet. It's a way to check in on people and see if they're doing well, and just to converse. I mean, that's what it is in many cultures as well. For sure.
But having the ability to like take it out and go and like eat at your desk or eat it on the subway, like I see so many people eating on the subway.
Well, that's less of a Western culture thing. It's more of modernization.
Right.
So, for example, you even won't really get that in like middle of nowhere. You mainly get that in cities, like big cities, like Boston has it, like LA has it, New York City has it, because they see that there's a lot of people who are busy, they have work and stuff. So fast casual was something that was really created from companies like Chipotle. So they're the ones who, okay, you know what, instead of like sitting down to get a burrito, come here, pick whatever you want, and then you can leave. I used to work at like a mobile payment company called Level Up, and we specifically talk about fast casual restaurants. Like they're like a big target in terms of like, okay, just go there, quickly pay, and then you can leave, or you can just stay. And so it's limited to like, okay, maybe 2 seats or 3 seats per like group or so. So there's a lot more of that happening in New York City, which I think is great.
Yeah,
I like that. So that's on food, which is really, really cool. So shout outs to Wan Ting for blessing us. Yes, we got coupons too. So
like a free meal, yeah.
Free meals.
Yeah,
so.
for those of you who are tuning in for the first time because you came to our event and decided to check out our podcast, we normally talk about like 3 to 5 things that are happening in China or in the States or around the world that concern Chinese, but we're just going to do a little quick recap of the experience right now.
Yes.
Just to make sure everyone's up to date, and then we'll talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Well, also because it's our first one, you know? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, for us, like, just have everything online and now being able to see some people. And there are people who were like, wait, well, what is your podcast called? Like, I had somebody, I was going to the bathroom at one point after one of the panel discussions, and he was like, wait, what's your podcast called? Like, podcast called? And it's China on the internet. He's like, okay, I'm definitely going to check it out. Nice. Is it on Spotify? I was like, yeah, it's on Spotify. Because people came to the event for different reasons.
Right.
Like, there's people who came to see some of the live shows, the performances, like Bohan Phoenix. So they had no idea who we are, which is really actually cool, because then we get to spread our influence to more people. I actually got a chance to interview Bohan Phoenix himself for like 20 minutes before we actually opened the doors for everybody else. And that in itself was a great experience for me. I'm not going to lie, I was a little nervous coming off on interviewing him, because I was like, holy crap. Well, first of all, it was like the first interview of the day. And normally we don't bring like guests. Like, we don't, it's just Christy and I, like, it's just the two of us here, and we talk about different topics and current events. But so for us to now interview somebody else, I was like, oh man, number one, I'm interviewing somebody.
At least it wasn't live or in front of an audience, and you could, talk.
Yeah, I could talk
in the
and
comfort
stuff,
of just two people like we are right now.
But at the same time, it's also very and we shot it like right here in the same room, except we had a couch. But I was still nervous because I was like, but of all people, it's Bohan Phoenix, you know? And I'm in the entertainment industry the same way that he is, but I tend to be somebody who like fanboys pretty easily. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, if I kind of know you, or if I like really know you, like, I'm gonna fanboy like towards you.
That's
like,
great. I'm glad you got that opportunity. I can't wait to see it. I haven't seen the interview yet. I wasn't allowed in.
You weren't allowed. You could have.
No, I'm kidding. We had group interviews later, but yeah, that's awesome. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, he was talking about. Remember how like last time we watched Money Games?
Yes.
So he was actually like right before we started the interview, he was like, yeah, I actually don't like Money Games.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the video, or
he doesn't like the song. Like, he just didn't like.
Did he write it?
I mean, it was a collaboration between him, Vava, and DJ Mac J. But he's like, yeah, I didn't really like that song, to be honest. So I was like, wait, so why did you make it in the first place? And he says, well, I've been in China for like 2-3 years. I've built a lot more connections in China. So I felt like it would be a waste if I just completely like did nothing with that. So he made that, and he actually remember how we also talked about Rap of China, that TV show? Rap of China actually asked him 3 times to be on that show.
Wow.
Each time he declined.
And what was that reason? Did you?
Well, in the sense of like how he talked about it was like, for example, like he collaborated with Vava, who was on Rap of China. And she was the one who created that song, that rap song that was on Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, yeah.
So that was hers.
My New Swag.
My New Swag. So she made that song, and she's like, yeah, like, she has like a lot of supporters, but they're there to see her, for example. Like, for example, in Money Games, like, they're there to listen to her. Because she's not just like, yeah, she could rap, and she is a rapper, but she's also a reality TV star. Because Rap in China is a reality TV show. And
Sure.
And we could also talk about in terms of how they like have a whole format with how they set things up.
Yeah.
So, and he's not about that.
Sure.
Well, that's something that I really respect about Bohan, is that he's very much himself. He is his own man. He has his own thoughts and own ideas, and he's not afraid to talk about them and to just be 100% authentic to himself. So he talked about that, and I asked him like, what kind of advice could you give to like independent artists, or if there's like, if 10-year-old Bohan was right here, what would you tell him? He's like, I wouldn't tell him anything. It's just like, he's like, he's like, what kind of advice could I really give you? You know, it's like we're all trying to figure it out, and he was talking about like sometimes ignorance is bliss. Like, you don't have to know all the details, because if you do, it sometimes prevents you from actually making the decision to do something. If you have too much information, you've done too much research on the industry, the game, or whatever thing you're trying to do, it might prevent you from doing certain things or to be as bold as you want to be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I can't wait to hear the full interview and hear it in his words and everything, and like hear how the conversation went.
Yeah, it was
that'll
cool.
be on our channel soon too.
It will. And he had like a whole bunch of CDs from his EP, his first EP. So I was like, whoa, this is your first EP?
Do you even have a CD player?
Well, no, but
Does anybody even have a CD player anymore?
I don't think so.
I know they sell those portable things that you can plug into the computer, and like you put your CD or DVD and like
into
and
the
then you,
CD player and then on
well, it's
there?
like a little square, and then it has a USB port, and you plug it into. But now computers don't even have USB ports.
But look at this. This computer itself has a CD
this one's
player.
This one's pretty old.
It's like an older
this is like
laptop.
a 2014, 2015.
I think so. Yeah.
Or earlier.
I used to have like a CD player on it.
No, isn't that wild when like this was like the new computer?
Yeah.
This is like a MacBook Pro, but I have the MacBook Pro with like the little slidey bar thing, and
You
like,
have the touch bar?
yeah, and like they have two little squares on the side, and it's like you can't even put USBs in them. Technology is changing so fast.
It is. Well, that's also Apple too. Like,
I know.
I'm sorry, but Apple is kind of selfish in that sense because you have to buy. It is. They are because you have to buy.
I mean, they're a growing company. They're just trying to keep up with the
growing
times.
company. They've been established for a while.
No, I know, but like they have this expectation now that they have to come out with a new thing every year, and they make that expectation for themselves, and now they're like, well, we gotta, like, technology is just
I don't
changing.
even think it's that. It's because it's business. It's
Exactly,
business. Like,
yeah.
In the sense of like, if you are an Apple user, if you want to keep using a product, you have to switch to this format. So instead
That's
of
a
using a
business
USB, you have to.
As you know, because you're a business student.
Because I'm a business student.
Yeah.
I was a terrible business student, but I did learn some things over there.
Yeah.
So
Supply and demand.
Supply
you gotta
and
have
demand,
the new toys.
always.
That's the thing.
And if you
All the
want to
toys.
stick with Apple or Xbox, you have to use XYZ. You know, you
Yeah.
can't switch to the other thing. You know.
So many. I have like a box in my room. With all of, like cables that are like, because otherwise you just lose them. Like I don't know, cables are the easiest, especially when they're this big now. Like the dongles, like you connect a USB port to that, and then you put. It's just like I was trying to upload photos from my camera the other day to my computer because I just got this computer like less than a year ago, and my old computer had an SD card slot for like the SD card from the camera, but now it doesn't. So you have to plug the SD card into a different port,
like,
and then the port goes
converter.
It's
Yeah,
kind of wild how many things you need now.
I think it's too much, yo. Apple, fix yourself, man.
It's a lot. Well, everything is going Bluetooth now with like AirDrop too.
Yep.
Like if I,
Well,
because
that part I like. I
there's
like
some
AirDrop.
cameras that you can like take photos and it'll automatically go to your computer.
Yep.
Over Wi-Fi. I don't.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
computer's. I mean, my camera, my DSLR is like 6 years old by now, so I need to update that.
You gotta update
so
that,
it's either
yeah.
you update your technology or you update your cables or you update all of it. So you can't really win.
I have a recommendation in terms of cameras.
Yeah, sure.
It's a Sony.
This is not sponsored, by the way.
Not sponsored.
This is
by
not a
the way.
commercial.
I'm just saying, like Sony, the A6000. Sony A6000 is great.
Okay, I have Canon right now, so we'll see.
Canon's cool too.
Yeah.
What I like about this camera, because I have this camera, and I've had it for a couple of years. It's a great vlogging camera.
Oh, the little camera that you have?
Yeah, it's like this
Yeah,
big,
yeah,
and it could connect to Wi-Fi, so you could directly put it onto your computer or even onto your phone.
Wow. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it's.
I'm not sure what I'll
it's-
get.
It's nice.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need an SD card. You know,
Yeah, SD cards are nice though, because then you know you have it.
for sure.
Anyway, circling back to
Circling
our
back to-
Chinosity. This is kind of, if you're tuning in for the first time, this is kind of what it's like. We talk about certain things, but then sometimes we go on
Sometimes we
tangents,
deviate, and
which is
that
fine.
happens. You
It's
know,
just conversation.
But
It's fluid.
anyways,
Anyway,
the
back to-
CD, the EP.
Yes.
I got a signed copy.
Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
everyone who attended our event got a signed copy of his new EP.
What?
Correct?
No.
At the front desk table.
Oh, that's his first EP. That's from his
okay.
first EP.
His first
His latest
My
EP
bad, my
is
bad.
actually it's called The Prince. It's going to be released on this Friday.
And he sang a
on the
new
18th.
song at our event.
He did.
Which was really
He
cool. We were the
did.
first audience to
Ah.
ever hear it. Yeah.
I was like, what? And that song was fire. I gotta look through like the videos that I
Yeah.
took to be like, oh, which song was it? Because it was so good.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, you know
I'm
what's
so
crazy?
excited.
I was actually kind of surprised at how many people were not filming at this because we didn't have a rule. Like we actually like were encouraging people to take pictures, take videos of our event, and like hashtag Chinosity and tag us in it.
Yep.
I was surprised by how many people were just like standing and listening and like being in the moment and
Definitely.
like. They took photos at some points, which was great. We loved that, but it was also like kind of refreshing to see people just.
They're just tuning in and like
Yeah.
being in the moment being a part of this experience. There are all kinds of people who came to the show, to the whole event.
Well, friends of like the panelists, friends of the. Wait, I want to circle back and talk about our panelists too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we had, like you said, we had Melissa and Wan Ting from Junzi and the Mala Project, respectively, or not respectively, the other way around. Sorry, Melissa's from the Mala Project and Wan Ting is from Junzi Kitchen.
But we also had somebody else who came in, Ari who's a YouTube creator.
Yes. Wait, we can talk about him in a second because I still want to talk about the restaurants.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about.
We just jump around a lot. So speaking of like the fast modern types of restaurants, I also really appreciated how they were both talking about like starting a business that is not only going to appease to like Chinese people, but like people of all cultures.
Definitely.
Which I thought was interesting that like a lot of their, I think Melissa said about 1/3.
That was Wan Ting for Junzi Kitchen. It was 1/3 of their customers were Chinese. The
I
rest
thought it
were
was
not.
less. I thought it was like 1/3
30%.
for Melissa's, and then it was less for Wan Ting's.
No, it was more. It was more Chinese clients at Mala Project.
Yes,
It was
exactly.
like 50-50.
Oh, it
I would
was
say.
50, did she say?
I think she said something.
And then
like
it was
that.
like 1/3 at the
But at
Junzi,
Junzi,
which I think
it
is
makes
super
sense for me
interesting.
though.
Yeah.
It makes sense because Junzi appeals to the I'll call it the yuppie class.
What's that?
Young professionals.
Okay.
The yuppies, and like they're kind of wealthy and they work at either tech or finance and stuff. So, and they're the ones who usually go to like Sweet Green.
Right. And they have the time, the money.
So
and
they have the. They don't have the time, but they have the money, and so they want to get something that's healthy, but also tasty.
Right.
And so, what better way to do it than to go to Junzi Kitchen that has that's like Chinese is like a different culture, but also is really quick.
I think it's awesome that we're also reframing what it means to like be Chinese food. Like it's not it's not necessarily a westernized form of Chinese food, but it's more of just like this is what Chinese food always has been. It's just not what it's always been represented across most of the 44,000 restaurants, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Like I've seen like friends or like people that I connected with on social media post like, oh, like I feel so like bloated. I had like Chinese food last night. I'm like kind of try to be better and like eat less junk food. And it's like when you generalize that term of like all Chinese food being junk food, it's like not accurate because that's just what is available to you in these markets. So I think it's really excited that Junzi Kitchen is like bringing like a fresh perspective and like it's not like clean Chinese food. Like it's always. There has been Chinese food that's always been clean. It just hasn't been readily available to Western markets.
For sure.
So I think that's really cool what she had to say about that. And like you were talking about like the history. It was just like she just had so much knowledge about the industry. She has so many degrees too. She's like so well educated.
She went to Beida.
Yeah, I went to Beida first, and then she went to BU for economics, I think, and then
she went to Yale.
Yes,
after,
and then
forestry.
for environmental science. Yeah, which is really cool. So she definitely has that background of like natural sciences in her back pocket, as in addition to like her being a businesswoman, starting her own company.
She's dope. Like they're both really dope.
Yeah.
So just like getting to
and Melissa's a student currently.
Yeah, she's still
and she
a
works
student.
in their in-house marketing.
Yeah, and she started off as a host.
Yeah, she started off as a host at the restaurant, which is great. We love working like up within a company. I think that's awesome.
There was one. There was a certain highlight that I remembered. So every once in a while, like almost every night, I would journal how my day was, and I remember specifically going back home. But I need to write this down. And it was something that Wan Ting was saying. So during the whole event and the panel, I mean, you'll see it when the video comes out. But I just want to talk about it. So she asked, okay, so how many of you guys want to start do a startup? There are a couple people who raised their hands.
Maybe like a third.
A third of them raised their hands, right? And she says, okay, how many want to start a restaurant? Nobody raised their hands. And she says, okay, that's good, okay? Because I would not recommend people to start a restaurant.
And this is her having like started a successful.
Yeah, they already have 4 locations. They opened up their 4th location at Bryant Park
recently
this year. So she was okay, that's good that you guys don't want to do it. However, if you guys, because it is just really, really tough, it's grueling hours, it's like a lot of uncertainty, a lot of competition. Like I know this as well, like working at Level Up. But she was okay, but if you were to like go into the restaurant industry, she said, this is what I learned at the Yale Entrepreneur Incubator, the initiative there. And she said, there's two things you gotta take a look at. Number one, why you? And it's like, what makes you different from other people? Why would they want to go to you instead of others? And then number two, why now? Why is it not 10 years from now? Or why is it not 10 years before? Why is it now that it's the best time? And I had to write that down because it's not just applicable to the food and beverage industry. It's applied to every field that you're in, whether it's for tech, entrepreneurship, art even. I look at this to myself and I'm like, okay, as an actor, as an artist, like, why me versus other people? Like, every time you go into a casting office and they specifically say, here's the demographic that we want to play this role, I'm going to see other people who are in similar looks or similar demographic to me. What makes me different from other people? And then number two, why now? So that's
a very common question too in like any theater education class when they're looking at a play or a piece of art and they're talking about why still produce it, like why do people still do Tennessee Williams' plays? Why do people still, you know what I mean? So it's like the why here, why now thing. It's like, I think it's a very applicable question and statement to hold yourself accountable to in any field that you go into, no matter if it's art, no matter if it's food, if it's tech, if it's anything, you know?
Definitely, you know, because you got to keep up with the times.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Clearly, got to keep up with the times.
I mean, I like this laptop, though, because it's kind of vintage at this point. I could call it vintage at this point. It has
I guess.
a CD player.
I mean, it's less than 10 years old.
Still
but
less than
anyway,
10 years
so
old,
going back to the podcast, we also got to speak with
Ari.
Yes, Ari Smith. He's like the
Xiaoma, NYC.
Yes, he's like a YouTube blogger. I think it's super interesting that he is spreading. He's like taking the, like we joked about the podcast, like Rob and I talk about it in this little room on the Upper East Side, and he's on the streets in Times Square.
He's doing it. He's out there spreading like not just Chinese culture, but different Asian culture when it comes to food, music, all of that. And it was just great to hear him talk about his process,
and
like, his experience of being in Beijing, like learning Mandarin, as well as because he only spoke English until he was like 18 years old, and he only stumbled upon it because over the summer after he graduated, he was like, okay, well, I'm kind of bored, and then like this class seemed interesting to take, and then it took him to all these different places.
I mean, similarly with my mom, like she wasn't bored necessarily, but she was like, I lived in America for 21 years. She's like, I think I've had enough. And so she literally moved to China after she graduated college.
Just like that,
without having any Mandarin. Like she did not speak a word.
Okay, why did she? Have you ever asked your mom why did she choose China of all places?
Yeah, I think she had the choice between like either China and somewhere in South America. I'm not. She had like the choice. She's like, let's just do China.
On a whim, just like, all right. That's
crazy. She has a huge appreciation for art history, and I think she was really interested in like culture, in Chinese culture, and like how different it was. Just like she grew up in New Jersey for her whole life, right?
Yeah,
and like
very
just
different.
Excited to see like the complete. I mean, it's what I think it's essentially what Ari did as well. He was like, yeah, cool, something I've never experienced before. I think it's what a lot of people are scared to do.
Yes,
is move to a country where they don't speak the language. Especially back then for my mom when didn't have Google Translate was not a thing. Like on your phone, like you had to carry like a literal dictionary with you.
Was the internet even around at that time?
Yeah, but it was like dial up. Like you had to like no one had laptops.
Yeah.
It wasn't like
the 60s.
It was like the early 90s, like late 80s.
Okay. So internet was just becoming a thing. Like it was just hey, like this is what internet is. You know?
My mom's pretty young. Like they're not that old.
Oh, you know, I know she's young, but like, even in like the late 80s,
no,
like,
totally, yeah.
internet wasn't accessible to a lot of people.
And so now seeing Ari being able to reach all these audiences with YouTube and Instagram and whatever he's out, TikTok or that he's on, like
he's not on TikTok.
He's not on TikTok, sorry. But like they just went there and like studied it for themselves. But now like that he's able to do that and like share it with people and like people from all around the world are watching it, I think that's really cool. And I think that's the future, right? Is
definitely
being able to share these things via like, I mean, that's supposedly why Instagram and Facebook were created. Not why Facebook. I know why Facebook was created. But Instagram is like you take pictures, and the point was like it's on the spot. Like you used to not be able to upload pictures to Instagram. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah,
well, I got Instagram late.
I had Instagram when it first came out in like 2010, 2011.
Wow, yeah.
I was like a freshman in high school, I think, when it first came out. Or that's when I first downloaded it. And
that was way back.
there were no stories.
Yeah.
There was none of
That
that.
didn't
It was
exist.
just, you just had accounts and you could only hashtag. You couldn't tag other people. So you took a picture, then you put a filter on it, and then you could write a caption and share and hashtag. But you couldn't, like, let's say if I took a picture of you now on my camera, my phone, camera roll, and then I go home and I could Instagram it later.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that.
You could edit
you
it,
could,
everything,
no. You couldn't do that.
But yeah, back then you can't.
Back then
right?
you couldn't. You just took a picture, you put the whatever filter you wanted on it, and then you sent, and then you posted it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
So that's kind of, and then now with technology, like that was meant to like, oh, like I'm here, I'm hashtagging this location, like because it's Instagram. That's the point. It's like instant.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's what I meant. Look, I got it in college.
Oh,
I got
interesting.
Instagram. I was definitely a laggard.
I didn't really
terms
use
of
Instagram
adaptation.
in high school. I like had it and I like used it, but Snapchat was big,
Snapchat was big, yeah.
and then Facebook was big too.
I didn't get a smartphone until I was in college.
See, I got a smartphone when I moved to.
But the States?
No, when I moved to China in 8th grade for like the 3rd time.
Ah.
Because we are living in San Diego and then like we moved back and I was, I was really, upset about it. And so my mom and my dad
grade.
got me an iPhone so I can keep in touch with my classmates.
That makes sense,
Yeah,
though. Yeah. I was so behind on
Because
that.
everyone else had iMessage and I was still on my like little Nokia phone. And I was like,
So you
everyone,
go
I
get
had
the-
the
go
green
get the green
bubbles
bubble.
all through middle school. And then when we moved to China, my parents were like, okay, well, since you can't text them and like, it's hard to access like Facebook and like Instagram in
That's very
China.
true.
Like VPNs weren't as advanced as they were now.
Yeah.
So they're like, you can get an iPhone and you can iMessage them. So that's like how I kept in touch with like my friends in the States.
Technology.
Anyway, long
And
tangent again
the
because of
internet.
technology. Wait, speaking of technology, did you see that there's like a new bill being passed in China?
There's
about-
a new bill being passed in China?
Yeah, potentially about using your smartphones while crossing the street.
Okay, yeah. I've heard of that. You brought it up before.
Because that was a bill that was proposed in New York City back in May.
This past May.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't heard any updates from that yet.
Updates. We don't know. So essentially, in New York City, they were like, too many people are being like the number of pedestrians being hit by cars or bicycles has gone up apparently.
Because people are on their phones while they're crossing the road.
Yes, they're not paying attention, or they're like, even if like the walk light is green and they're like crossing the street on their phone, like people are still turning right, like people are getting hit. So there's a new bill that was proposed by the Democratic Party that potentially would range from $25 to $250 if you were caught crossing the street on your phone. Unless it was an emergency, unless you're like a minute. There's like a bunch of different rules.
Yeah.
But similarly, what's happening in Zhejiang province in China is that there's a proposed law that has not been put into place yet. Pedestrians who use their mobile phones while crossing the road in eastern China could face a fine up to 50 RMB, which is about $7.
That's way less than here.
Right,
What they're
but-
proposing.
With like currency difference, like 50 yuan is like, that's like a lot of money in
Yeah,
China.
that's true.
It's
That's
not
true.
that much anymore, but like that's still
That's still a meal right there.
my parents and I
That's still a
my
meal.
parents and I could eat a meal for that much together.
Definitely, you know? Oh, together.
All like total.
Yeah.
Depending on where we went.
China,
Yeah. $7 we could all eat. Like
Wow.
I mean now it's different like depending on where you go, but yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean a jianbing, like a Chinese scallion pancake,
Love jumping.
it's like 4 RMB.
Yeah.
And
That's
that could
amazing.
feed like 2 people if you wanted to. It's huge. So that's I think is super interesting that is happening in China because I feel like I see taxi drivers, people on their bikes,
And they're all on their phones.
always on their phones.
Yeah.
But the thing is with like in China when like the driving is already kind of crazy there. So many lanes.
Yeah.
So many lights, like so many like illegal merges and illegal U-turns that are happening. But
so many people.
But that's just how you get places there. Like it actually causes more problems when they like stick to the traffic laws in China. Like and
You think so?
I think so.
Really? I would think the opposite.
No, having lived there and like going to school every morning and like people like running red lights and like making illegal U-turns and like merging and like turning left in like the right lane. Like if people like actually did stay in line and wait for like there would be much more traffic.
Interesting. I always feel like if you were in like a really congested area, you have to kind of enforce certain laws.
Like, yes, but the way that the driving is there, it's so chaotic that it just works. Because
It's like
everyone,
Vietnam.
it just works. Yeah,
it just
exactly.
works,
It just
you
works.
know?
I mean, depending on where you are, but like obviously, like there's still horrible accidents, but like I'll see like mopeds and bicycles going in between the car lanes, and it looks on the highway, and it looks so dangerous. But like
Oh, in the U.S.
People
is like
gotta
that,
do
though.
what they gotta do. No, it's like way more chaotic than it is here. But like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
will get places.
Yeah.
But I would never drive in China because I don't know how to drive like that. Like I learned to drive in the States.
Got it.
I wouldn't be able to maneuver the way that they do.
It's a whole art form at that
It
point.
literally is an art form.
That's crazy.
yeah.
So have they decided whether or not they want to pass this bill yet?
I don't think so. I think that they did a survey about like who actually does look at their phones. 60% of the 3,500 who took part of the survey said they do look at their phones while crossing the road.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not gonna lie, I do it sometimes too.
Yeah.
Like
I still
if
don't
I'm
think
crossing
it's,
the
like,
street.
Good.
No, it's not good. It's not good. I think the proposed bill is like not like depending if it'll go into effect or not. I think at least it's getting people talking about the issue, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Oh, you know what's crazy about this right here? Here, it says Jiaxing's new traffic regulation had Weibo, which is China's Twitter. They had people talking about it and post about it, and now the subject has pulled about 41 million views to talk about this. This
I mean,
idea,
people are mad
you know?
about the law. People are like, why should, because like people think that pedestrians have the right of way, right?
I mean, but then last week on the podcast we talked about face recognition and how they're already going to have this in place where like, if you're jaywalking, you'll automatically get fined.
Yeah. So they
So-
could see, like they can track your phone.
Yeah,
So-
especially if you're on your phone.
Especially if you're on your phone. So it's like, oh, this person is crossing the crosswalk right now, and their phone is being used, and the light is red, or the light is green, whatever. They can know if you're using your phone when you're crossing the street.
Totally.
So maybe they can just instantly fine you.
Yeah, well, that's what they do. Like, they're proposing a way where like, they will instantly fine you if you're jaywalking.
Wow.
So I wouldn't
Not
be
be-
surprised if you're on your phone jaywalk, not even jaywalking, but crossing the
What
road.
if it just like your phone just turns black, like you can't use your phone?
That would be insane. Actually, that would be more effective.
It would be, but wouldn't that be creepy because it knows you're within the zone? It's kind of like those shopping carts from Target or Trader Joe's. Like once you reach a certain, I don't know if you know this because you grew up in the city, but when you're in like a Trader Joe's or a Target in like the suburbs, they're like when the parking lots, right? You can't bring your shopping cart past a certain point because
really?
there's like a magnetic field. Like your shopping cart wheels will automatically lock at a certain point.
That's crazy.
But that's been a thing for like years.
Yeah.
Because this shopping cart cannot go past a certain like they're like these like circular like red like balls in front of Target and like that's where the shopping carts can't go past.
Dang.
Because they don't want you to take the shopping carts or like get hit by a car.
Sure.
So like similarly, what if like when you're crossing the street, your phone just goes dark? Like you can't use it. Like you know how when you're driving a car, like you can't.
You can't be, like,
you can't
on
be
your
on
phone.
Bluetooth. Like you can't connect your phone to the car on like
While
a
you're
Bluetooth while you're driving.
driving.
You
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
be stopped.
Then you could connect. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the future.
I think that's necessary though.
You think so?
Yeah.
But what if it is truly an emergency? Like
Great.
who's
don't
to
freaking
decide?
cross the road.
But
when
what
you
if
have an emergency?
you're like running to somewhere to get someone? Like I don't know. What if your kid has like a nut allergy at school and you're like on the phone with the school and you're running?
Okay. Then yeah. No, you. It's
You
case
know
by
who's
case
to
basis,
decide?
you know?
But like, how does the sidewalk know?
How would a sidewalk know?
How would a sidewalk know, Rob?
With CCTV cameras. That's how they'll know.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, look, it's already happening in China.
I know it's crazy.
And not to mention, it's already happening in the United States as well.
What facial?
No,
Technology?
but just like cameras
Oh,
being
yeah,
placed
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Like even in like the streets where I'm at, like they have like cameras and stuff. And
Yeah, my street, all of my buildings have cameras on the front of
but
the
not just
building.
cameras, but like speed cameras. So if you drive after a certain like speed limit, say like it's 25 and you hit like 40, well, you automatically get ticketed right away. They don't even need a police car to be there to like catch you. They just flash it. They get your license plate. Boom, you're automatically ticketed. You're gonna get it in the mail. So
Yeah.
I've been fined like twice before
Oh, from that?
from that.
Wow.
Yeah, because we're also by like a school.
That would make
know.
sense. I didn't know you drove in New York,
I could drive in New York. Yeah.
but you're like in Brooklyn.
Well, I'm like deep in Brooklyn.
You wouldn't drive in Midtown though.
I've driven in Midtown
I
to like
can't
pick
do it.
up like my brother, to pick up
Yeah.
family and stuff like that. I
Wow.
would drive. I'm used to driving there. I'm not saying that it's nice to drive
I can drive
here.
like in and out of the city, but I can't drive within the city.
Within the city, it's
Like I think the
congested.
most
It's
I've driven
congested.
is like driving from like my sister's apartment to New Jersey, in like my grandma's car.
But you're also at like you're not in like this
Exactly.
middle.
Like, we're on like the west,
Yeah.
right next to the
It's
West Side
easy
Highway.
for you to get onto
Just like
West
two
Side Highway.
avenues or the Lincoln Tunnel, and that's
Yeah.
like all I can do. I like can't do. Anyway,
I got used to driving to all kinds of places.
That-
I drove in Chinatown. Chinatown's crazy to drive.
No,
you know?
can't. I can't even walk there.
I would drive to Chinatown all the time to pick up my mom or something like that. Like it happens all the time.
So I'm interested to see where this goes. We'll
Yeah.
keep our tabs on this and talk about it in future episodes. But yeah.
Crazy stuff, technology.
I'm
you know?
going to China in a couple weeks, or I think it's like 4 weeks actually. It's
in
like a
4
month,
weeks,
yeah.
right? You're excited to go back?
I'm excited to go back. I'm excited to see the changes.
Yeah, this being
I'm a little
one of the
scared to see the
potential
changes. Every time I go back, there's a new skyscraper up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Every time I go back.
Like the amount of development
Yeah.
in there is crazy.
My mom said one of our favorite Indian restaurants closed.
Aw.
Sad. They like don't, you know, like here they'll be like, after 25 years, thank you so much for your patronage. Like we will be closing shop on this date. You don't see that.
It's just like
It's just like
gone. Next thing you know, there's like a new skyscraper or hotel
Yeah.
being built there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We actually live in like one of like the oldest so like we live in like a foreign compound technically in China, like we
For all the expats.
for all the expats, but you don't have to be I don't think you have to be a foreigner to live there anymore. I think it used to be owned by like the French embassy, and like we were like one of the few American we had
Quote-unquote
U.S.
American,
passports that lived there, mostly French, and then we moved out to like a Chinese building, then we moved back. But it's one of the oldest buildings that was made for expats because it's right next to the Australian embassy, it's right next to the Canadian and the French embassy. So yeah, I'm excited to see the changes within that building too, because I know there are a lot of like Chinese local people who live there now, and like see like the different like changes, like because there's like a center clubhouse in the middle of the compound that has like a restaurant,
Oh,
and it
wow.
used to be like this really great Chinese restaurant, and like this really cute little French bakery, and like this like grocery store underneath. But now it's like it's like a more like high end, more expensive, fancier Chinese restaurant, and the food's actually not as good anymore,
Yeah.
which is interesting. So it's like different management. So I'm excited to see like the different changes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, when was the last time you were back? I know you told me this before, but I forgot.
Last July.
Last
so
July.
over a year
So
ago.
there's definitely a lot of changes.
I'm
by then.
sure. Well, there's a new airport in Daxing, which is like south of the city. It's like an hour and a half outside.
And they created a new airport there.
Yeah, it's huge.
Wow.
I think Delta Airlines is now being operated. I don't think I'm flying Delta. I forget.
Flying United?
No, I don't know. I don't know when I'm flying my. I don't know. I
China
forget.
Air?
No, I'm not. Oh, actually, I think I am.
China
flying
Air, right?
Yeah, the nonstop from Newark. Anyway,
So you're gonna get those like free slippers then?
yeah, the free. No, I'm flying economy, Rob. I'm not in business class.
No, but I thought don't they give you like
I think they
free
give everyone slippers just
yeah,
to be
right?
clean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone takes their shoes off.
Everybody, especially if you're on a 13, 14, 15 hour flight. How long is your flight? 15 hours? 14?
14 hours.
That's a lot.
It's been a while since I did a long flight like that. I'm kind of
I had that
nervous.
just this past summer, you know. Yeah, ours was like about 14
What's your
hours.
way of like dealing with long flights? Do you like stay up and watch all the movies and eat and like do stuff, or do you like take an Ambien and knock out?
I don't take anything.
I'm
'cause,
kidding.
like,
I
try
don't
to,
take Ambien. I take melatonin sometimes.
I try to sleep on the plane before, but I never was able to sleep. Like it's always maximum, even if I was dead tired. Say like if my flight was at like 6 a.m., I probably would not sleep. Maybe I'll sleep for an hour, and then maybe on the plane I'll sleep. But it never works. I end up still staying awake. Like I'm just not comfortable enough to sleep.
I know.
You know, and I don't have the travel.
Oh, I've had a really good
pillows,
one
you
for
know?
years. You have to have one.
You need to have those because I don't.
I have like a
and,
Tempur-Pedic one, and it's so
Ah.
nice. Yeah.
You know what's-
and it comes with an eye mask.
It
I
has
always
an
do.
eye
I
mask
always do
too?
a face because the air's so dry.
It is so
So I
dry.
always do face masks when I'm on the airplane.
Wow.
Gotta take care of your skin, dude. Especially when you're
definitely,
going to China where the air's already so dry.
It is, yeah. No, my lips were so cracked and
Oh
chapped
my god,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vaseline.
I end up just reading books, like journaling.
I like watch a lot of
like-
movies. all the
Movies,
time.
you know, I watch
a lot of
movies
or
too.
TV shows.
That's when I get to catch up on movies and books.
In the summer, like when I would be flying to the States for summer vacation, we had these like homework packets from Chinese school, like 60 to 100 pages.
Wow.
I would like try to get all of it done on the airplane, like on my way to America. So when I got here, I could just like relax and like,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Dang. Well, I wish you the best of luck on this flight.
My turn. I'm also going to Vietnam.
Oh yeah, for your friend's wedding.
Yeah, for a friend's wedding. Yeah.
Congrats to your friend.
Thank you.
Congrats to your friend. When are you going? Are you going to Vietnam first?
No, I'm going to China first for a couple of days, and then round trip Beijing to Vietnam, Beijing, and then Beijing to Newark.
Word.
Newark.
How long? Newark. That's how you say it.
Newark. Yeah.
Newark.
Yeah.
How long are you staying in Asia in total?
I think it's like 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you for those 10 days.
Two of those are travel days though. Because you time travel when you fly to a different continent.
For sure.
I'm literally traveling to the future and then when I come back, I'm
back to the past.
In time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I leave at like 8 a.m. and I arrive like 5 p.m. the next day.
Wow.
Because of the time difference.
That's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Traveling. I don't know if I'm going to travel for a bit. You know.
November's a busy travel season for me. I'm also going to be going to London for Thanksgiving.
You're going to London?
Yes.
What's there in London for you?
What do you mean, what's there in London for me? There's something in London for everyone.
I guess so.
Yeah, I studied abroad there, so it's a very special place to my heart.
Gotcha.
And I've been going there for Thanksgiving like for the past 4 years, so it's kind of like a tradition. Yeah. Well, not last year. Actually, last year was the first year we didn't go, but the 2 years before that, no, the 3 years before that, and then this year. My sister and I normally go to London for Thanksgiving.
I guess I see the appeal of London. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, London's cool. I just never had that appeal.
You got to go to the right places, though. Do you know what's the great part about London at Thanksgiving?
What?
They don't celebrate it. So it's already Christmas season. So like all the Christmas like markets are open. It's like great.
I mean, Thanksgiving is only an American thing too.
Exactly.
So.
But they have like a huge Asian population in London.
They do.
And like a lot of really good the Chinatown
too.
in London is one of my favorite Chinatowns.
Really?
Maybe I'll do like a vlog from London Chinatown.
If you're in London, you gotta do like a
Yeah, I probably will.
Check out some of the restaurants. Tell me how it is.
Yeah, if you're in London and you know some good I mean, I've been plenty of times and I have my favorite places, but I'm always looking to explore new ones. So let me know. Let us know if you're in Beijing too. Let me know what like are some of your favorite things to do.
Yes. Please do let me know because I am planning on going to China next year.
Rob wants to move to China.
I don't know if I'm not going to move to China. If I'm going to be there for a few months.
You were so set on it.
I said I was going to. Okay, yeah. I said.
Oh, right.
At first I was like, you know, I'm going to move to China. I'm going to stay there for a couple of years, you know. I'm not going to. I'm American at the end of the day.
You're
like,
not ready for that.
I don't think I'm ready for that.
You have to spend like maybe like 4 months and like 4 months at a time.
So I'm planning on going for 4 months. I'm planning on going either in April or May and then come back at the end of August / like early September.
It's gonna be hot.
It's gonna be very, very hot, but it's the only window of time that I have where it's like it's not peak audition season or like pilot season. So
totally.
I still gotta learn my Mandarin, you know.
是的，应该.
我应该.
Yeah, 应该.
Yes, 应该.
Oh my goodness, there was this. Sorry, tangent again. Speaking of tones, I saw this really awesome musical called Soft Power.
You were telling me about that.
At the Public Theater. Shout out to the Public Theater. Shout out to my friend Pablo who works at the Public Theater who got me those tickets. Mm-hmm. We have to like dedicate another. How much time do we have? Yeah, we don't even have time. But anyway, this musical is like it's like a new play on like the East meets West musical. Like it's kind of like the opposite of like The King and I. It's basically like instead of these American people coming to, or not American, these Western people coming to Asia. It's like
Asian people going to America?
It's this one Chinese dude who works in the film industry, and he's like the president of a company, and he goes to America to find a Chinese American playwright or screenwriter to help write his movie. And he ends up meeting Hillary. It's like a really crazy it's basically a musical within a play. It's very hard to explain.
I'm gonna have to just watch it then.
You should go see it. I think you'd have a great time. But there's this great anyway, the reason I bring it up is because there's this great song where he's teaching Hillary Clinton the tones of Mandarin. He ends up falling in love with Hillary Clinton.
What?
It's a hilarious musical. I personally, at the beginning, I was a little skeptical because I was like, are they going to speak Mandarin in this? Like, Conrad Ricamora is playing the main Chinese guy, and I don't think he speaks Mandarin. I was like nervous. I was like, I don't know, like what's going to happen? I know David Henry Hwang, the playwright, is like Chinese American. And
he wrote the play?
He wrote the play, yeah. With Jeanine Tesori, she wrote the lyrics. And like he himself is like very outspoken about, he's like, I don't speak a lot of Mandarin. Like he's like, hello, like I'm Chinese American. Like he's like, I'm American. So I was like, oh, like I wonder like how much Mandarin this play is gonna have. I was like looking to see like how like who was like Chinese in the cast, and like I loved that they had so many different kinds of Asian Americans on stage, and that was really great. And then there was this one song where Conrad Ricamora. Do you know Conrad Ricamora?
Nope.
You should.
I probably should.
He's the best. He's on How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh shoot.
And he was on the Broadway revival of King and I.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So he's a great actor. He's wonderful. He's truly, truly wonderful. Like he's wonderful. I can't say it enough. He's wonderful. He's a great actor. So he played the lead guy. So he played the Chinese American guy, and his man.
Chinese guy, right?
Yes, Chinese guy who came over. Sorry, yes, you're correct. And then looking for his screenwriter, and they had this whole song where he's like teaching Hillary Clinton the different like 4 tones. So it's like the first tone is flat, and then like I won't give it away, but basically Hillary learns the 4th tone by saying like a derogatory term in English. Like she like says it out of frustration. He's like, "That's the 4th tone," and it's pretty funny. So I would suggest that you go see it. I would suggest that if you're in New York, go see it. It closes on November 10th.
Okay, then I have to.
It got
support.
extended.
It got extended.
I'm like seeing like maybe another workshop and a Broadway run in the future.
For that,
I see it happening. Yeah. I don't know if it's been in discussion yet, but I can see it.
For a workshop?
I can see. Well, it's already been workshop because there have already been 2 productions outside of New York, and now it came to now it's off Broadway at the Public, and I can see it having a couple more workshops and then going to Broadway, maybe like 2021.
You gotta find a way to get in that, you know.
Well, I was looking to see if they had like a Chinese or Chinese American dramaturg, and I don't think they did have one on the production. So I'm interested.
I think you'd be great for that.
Oh, thank you. I was talking to my friend Pablo about it actually, about like what the next steps are for the musical. So we'll see.
Be a part of that.
We'll see.
I'll support you.
It's
100%.
great. I was very emotional by the end of the musical.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't
it's
normally
hilarious.
go to musicals, you know.
It's a musical within a play.
Yeah.
Is what I would call it.
So it's still a musical.
Yeah, but I think it challenges what's happening on a lot of Broadway musicals and mainstream musicals is that it's not like a scream your face off musical.
Okay, that's good.
There's kind of this like trend
like
with
that
commercial
anymore.
musicals right now, like where it's like who can sing the highest, who can belt the highest, and it's like yes, that's a skill, and I respect that so much. But like this musical is kind of refreshing because it's expressed through song, but it's not like a competition of like who can belt their face off.
Well, you convinced me.
Yeah, go see it.
I gotta go.
Woo!
I gotta go see Soft
Okay,
Power.
we're out of time, but thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you want to talk about next week.
You let us know what you want us to talk about
Yes.
next week. Yeah.
And if you enjoyed your time at the live podcast, and
Yeah. Be sure to follow us on Chinosity News on Instagram, Chinosity on all the other platforms, on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, you know the whole deal. We release these episodes every week, normally on a Thursday. So stay tuned for these next couple episodes.
great.
You
should really go see that musical.
I really should.
And then we should like do a review.
What the hell?